My guest, Nancy Lewis, has practiced Kundalini Yoga for over 25 years and is a practitioner of transcendent consciousness healing under the umbrella of Kundalini Yoga. She's a teacher, actress, mentor, healer to many, and one of my personal heroes. Welcome, the gray-haired maven. Hi, Nancy.
That's very sweet. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you, your smiling face. And thank you for undertaking this monumental event. It's a wonderful thing. I know it's very heart-centered for you to bring these healers, teachers, practitioners together and for them to offer whatever they have and to be taken to the heart.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. So our conversation almost always, for me as a woman of 50, is centered around how to just be okay with this person that I'm becoming as I age, right? Like how to just continue to deepen into love for myself as wrinkles and sagginess and fluff appear. And you mentioned something the other day about aging not gracefully. It's not always graceful. And I was wondering if you could share more about that.
Well, you know, the process of aging is so different for each and every one of us. But I know when we certainly hit our 70s or maybe late 60s and our 80s, for goodness sake, we have a certain clarity in looking back at our lives. Aging, truly, when you hit the 70s, late 60s, 80s, for goodness sake, it is a gift. It is a great gift. And when you look at it in a sacred perspective, we're here on earth, we're walking on the earth, but yet we know what's coming, right? Yeah. We know the inevitable is going to happen. So here we are, and there we're going to be, and there's a certain sacredness in understanding that and living with it and accepting it. What I meant was aging is not always graceful. Are the changes our bodies go through? Are the changes our mind and emotions may go through? Because certainly this gift that we're given, and we have the opportunity to look back with clarity at the different cycles in our life. Yeah. And we look back at those various cycles with a joy, a gratefulness, and also an honesty in that maybe we missed something, right? We missed an opportunity. Maybe we didn't handle things as best as we could. So there might be a sadness that comes over us. Maybe an anger that we didn't process things or issues that we maybe want to address before it's too late. So there's all these other things that come out that need to be faced if you want to face them. See, that's the thing. If you want to get everything you can from this aging process and do it with honesty and love and compassion, not only for yourself, but for all those in your network, in your family, in your community, is to say, I have some unfinished business.
Mm,
I have some business that hasn't been addressed yet, that maybe I need a little help in addressing.
yeah.
And it's never too late to do this. We're so bombarded nowadays in how to age. We get all this information, how to take care of our bodies, what vitamins to take, what exercises to do, and they're all valid.
Yeah.
All valid. All those things are
Facial
important.
yoga.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's all
Whatever.
out there.
Yeah.
It's out there. But have you ever really thought of soul nourishment when you get older?
Right.
And addressing any unfinished issues or business is part of that soul nourishment. As far as having that soul age deeply
Mm,
and wisely and with an acceptance and self-love, that's why you're doing it,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
And to basically face end of life without regret is what I'm also
Right,
hearing. Yeah. Wow.
right,
That's super
right.
powerful because there are people living young that are living with regret. So I could only imagine, as we get to a certain milestone or past a couple milestones, even like the regret that potentially could come up for all the things we didn't say and the things we didn't do. And yeah, reminds me of the
And
song
for the
lyrics.
losses we experience, we experience loss as we
Yeah.
age. Let's face it. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah. More and more loss.
There, exactly.
Yeah.
Physical loss, friendships, we lose friendships, right? And so, with all you're hearing about aging now, oh, let's age gracefully. Let's find the goodness in every day, which I agree with. But there's also this other facet that I don't think is addressed as clearly,
Yeah.
and that's the grieving process.
Mm.
Here's a story. Here's this. This was me. This is my story. Uh, you can tell I'm still coughing a little bit, right? So this happened last week. All right. I decided I was going to make myself some chicken soup, right? Chicken soup for the body, chicken soup for the soul, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I like putting celery and carrots and in my chicken soup. And so I'm chopping some celery. And all of a sudden I feel my jaw tightening.
Mm.
Like really tight around my jaw, right? My teeth are clenching together.
Mm.
And then I'm really starting to slaughter this celery stalk with my chopping. I mean, this is meant to be a funny story. It's don't take it too seriously or depressing or whatever. It's funny. So I'm noticing all this, right?
You're killing that celery.
I'm killing it. I'm really getting to it. And I'm noticing this and I can feel all this happening. And I said to myself, I said, stop. What is going on here?
Mm.
So I had to sit down for a minute. I didn't even finish slaughtering this piece of celery. I sat down and I took some breathing, and it was like, why was this happening? Was it happening because I'm getting sick and I don't like that?
Mm,
Was it happening because usually I don't get sick and I can bounce back like that way, like that?
mhm.
Was I getting angry because my immune system is not as strong as it used to be?
Mm,
So all these things came up to the surface.
yeah.
And I thought, okay, yeah, this is part of aging.
Mhm.
Maybe you have some anger about things you're not able to do anymore physically, or it takes you longer to heal,
Mhm.
or it takes you longer to exercise, or you can't stretch as deeply as you once did,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So there might be an anger there. It's not graceful, but it's honest,
I prefer
right?
honesty anyway.
Yeah.
You know I
I mean,
do.
yeah, I mean, I guess you could still be graceful about it. I guess I was, because I stopped.
You took the breaths and you touched base
I
with what
took
was
the
going on.
breaths. I
Mhm.
tried to figure it out,
Mhm.
right? But not everybody can do that, I guess. I think that's a training that happens with life, with
I
understanding yourself.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. I have a dear friend who's experiencing some arthritis and other things in her body. And she's a little younger than I am, and she's like, I'm just pissed. I don't even care. I'm just angry right now. Like, if this is what aging is, like, I don't want to have anything to like, that's just nuts. She's still in that rebellious process with it, which I totally understand. I think there are all these waves that we experience throughout the process as we get older. Like, you know, um, anger is just one of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And a lot of times that may not be graceful,
Yeah.
and sometimes there's sadness that goes along with reviewing your life, a
Mhm.
sadness, a
Yeah.
grief, as we already mentioned.
Mhm.
So I can only speak for myself and what I've noticed about myself in this aging process. And another interesting thing about aging, and maybe it would apply to anybody really, is how we mirror our mother who aged, if we're lucky enough,
Yeah.
or that our mother lived so long, or our father, or our grandparents, how
Mhm.
they aged. I mean, what is open to us now in this age, as far as I think I've already touched upon it, supplements and knowing what to do, is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much better than it used to be. We've extended our life by several years now,
Right,
but still.
right. Yeah, but still, I mean, we can learn from our parents and we can learn from our grandparents, certainly. Um, and it's more an attitude, I guess.
Yeah.
So
So let me ask you, how can we, how have you found some semblance of peace with this process? How can we make peace with our bodies, our minds, our emotions as we go through this?
certainly loving oneself. and accepting oneself no matter where we are in our life, whether we're in our 50s, our 40s, all the way to our 80s. I was fortunate in my life and blessed that yoga has been a part of my life since I've been about 14,
Wow, that's awesome.
when I found my first yoga book.
Yeah.
I started teaching myself some things from the book, but I didn't continue it. I didn't keep it up all those years until, and I know exactly how old I was. I was 40
Hmm.
when I went to my first Kundalini yoga class. Now, that's a journey in and of itself.
Hmm.
But through that practice, through what I learned, the healing I went through, different healers, different modalities, a new world was opened up to me.
Yeah.
And it was one that included self-love, self-acceptance, and being compassionate with yourself, ultimately forgiveness as well. So that really was a turning point for me, and it just kept going. I just kept going in that direction. But it's
That's
never too
beautiful.
late. Doesn't matter if you've ever taken yoga in your 70s, there is a class for you. It doesn't matter if you've ever meditated before in your life. There is something for you, right?
Yeah.
That's going to help you ease into this aging process with love.
I so appreciate this conversation because, I mean, I went through a tumultuous point in my life post-divorce and whatever. And a friend of mine's like, you just need to love yourself more. And I was like, of course I love myself. I love myself just fine. But I had not even truly known the definition of that, how that could be for me, in all honesty. And the several years after that was an experience in learning how to, and what I could do to love myself. And the whole compassion thing, I think really is a beautiful piece to it, because if I'm not compassionate with myself, but I'm compassionate with other people, right? Well, why not? Why not? I'm living this life with this person right here. Other people may come and go, but I'm stuck with this person until the end of my life. So I should at least learn how to start liking her. And that's kind of what kickstarted my journey. And talking with people along the way, like, the self-talk that we all have and we all face, it's like, well, would we really talk to our friends like that, our loved ones, our children, our partners? Like, who would we talk to, a homeless person on the street like that? And if not, then why would we talk to ourselves that way? So yeah, I absolutely think that acceptance and compassion is necessary, and especially when we throw the aging thing on top of it. Yeah.
Right, right. See, healers, teachers must understand they can't stop working on themselves.
Mm.
They can't, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you quit working on yourself, it's like, how can you relate to everyone? Being the best that you can be and helping them as much as you can.
Nancy, it's been a real treat, a very, very lovely honor for me. I always love talking to you. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and your grace, and we're going to let you rest. Take good care.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And welcome to part 2 with Nancy Lewis on aging in a graceful way, although aging is not necessarily graceful. So Nancy, last time we talked a lot about the emotional qualities of aging, and sometimes that there's regret, and sometimes we go through a mourning process, and how to really face and address those things. And I want to ask you, like, what are some of your best practices for us physically to support ourselves as we age?
Aging is really a cool time of life. It truly is. You have the opportunity to explore different avenues of exercise, of healing. I'm a big yoga person. I'm a yogi, and I have been, practicing yoga and meditation and breath work now for 25 plus years. And that is part of my life. That's part of my energy. But also, these past few years, I realized I needed something more to keep working my joints, to keep working my muscles. And so I explored weightlifting, which I really enjoy, to build muscle and bone.
Yeah.
I walk a lot. And I'm experimenting right now with CrossFit.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I'm still in the learning stages of this.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy my trainer, and he is really observant and gears stuff to my ability.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So my suggestions about, you must keep moving, whatever it is. You must keep moving your body, moving your energy, because we know not only does it help with muscles physically, keeping in shape, right? Being able to move, being able to stay independent.
Yeah.
Also helps with emotions. Because we know when we move, the blood starts circulating, the brain starts working in a different way, all those great hormones kick in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so not only does it help physically, it helps emotionally to help us get through any, say, little bad patches that we may have.
Yeah.
You said something about regret in the very beginning. It's not about really regret. It's about understanding that you're not in your 30s, your 40s, or even your 50s anymore.
Right.
So and here's a story. It's I had a story before. I have another story. This is personal. Okay. It's finally taken me this long to realize that my body is not going to go back to the way it was in the 40s, at least when I was 40, or even in the 50s, right? I keep thinking, oh, this ache and pain, or this discomfort, or this misalignment will magically go away once I get an adjustment.
Right. It'll go back to how it was. Like, yeah.
Get a massage, right? My body will get back into the rhythm. And the past few years, I've been thinking, yeah, that's going to happen. This is going to be the one that's going to get me back to my 50s body. Right?
I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, when you finally realize it, you finally accept it, there's a calmness that comes over you, right? There's a peace. There's a knowing, okay, it's time to say goodbye to my 50s body, even my 60s body, and work on my body and my mind and my spirit where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means walking 10 minutes or walking 30 minutes, right? Or doing Pilates, which I've done and I love.
Yeah.
Right? It's experimenting with what is going to work for you, but it's getting out and experimenting. It's just not thinking about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can get in that little rut. You just got to make yourself do it and you'll feel better for it.
And even I think to some degree, for me personally, it works best if I'm varied in my approach. Like there are some things that work all the time. Yoga works all the time. Strength and weight training work all the time for me. Walking works all the time for me. But if I get doing that every day, then I get complacent. I'm like, I get bored. I need to shake it up. So occasionally, like I'll do like a belly dance video or throw on a pair of tap shoes or, something
Right.
different. Yeah. So I love that you're doing CrossFit. Like that's just like fantastic. And I can, even as someone who's now 50, I can totally relate to 10 years ago, I was wearing over the knee socks and mini skirts and cowboy boots. And I look at myself now and I'm like, that's not my reality right now. And I don't know that it ever will be. So like I look at her and I love and appreciate her for who she was and how she displayed herself then. And I look at myself now and I'm still trying to figure out my current 50-year-old style, but there's a lot of a sense of like I'll pick up something that I used to wear and like, well, that just doesn't resonate at all anymore. Aside from the mind construct of, well, maybe I'm too old to wear that. Right. And then I let that go and I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't resonate. It doesn't feel resonant with me anymore.
Of who you're
So
becoming.
of
Yeah.
who I'm becoming right now. So so I could totally relate to that. The person in the other body back then.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting how much like strength training and weight training actually do help support the bones, and walking processes the lymph, and like the side benefits of different forms of exercise. Like you said, the feel good chemicals, being produced to help us through hard times even. I love that. I know when I have like a bad day or I'm processing a lot emotionally, I go for a walk or a hike, and that helps me move through whatever it is I'm experiencing and get some clarity on the other side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for bringing up belly dancing or dancing in general.
Yeah.
Is wonderful. There's so much out there. There's so much to explore. It's limitless.
Yes.
To be who you are and to come into the space that you are right now with the beauty that you are. All these things we're talking about, exercise, breath work, meditation, brings you into your wisdom as well as you age. It opens up different doorways, different passageways of thinking and feeling for you to really embrace this time of life. Yeah.
You make it sound very lovely, Nancy. Very lovely.
Yeah. It is, and it isn't. There's a lot of learning that goes on with it, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of acceptance of where you are right now. You can see what's happening on the horizon.
Yeah.
I forget who it was that said, I honestly, you've got one foot here on earth, and maybe the other foot is moving, starting to move in a different direction. So you're in a very interesting space. Not that it's a bad space.
Right.
It's a learning space,
And
which is beautiful.
an evolutionary space. I mean, I feel like aging gets a bad rep in our society. Like, it's all this anti-aging, and like you addressed last time, this whole aging gracefully conversation. And sometimes, my knee will tell me it's not so graceful. I hurt today. I'm not feeling very graceful today, and the process of looking in the mirror from one day to the next is like an ever evolving opportunity for self-acceptance and self-love. Like, how can I love that extra wrinkle, or that extra bit of fluff, or that extra sag somewhere, that the signs that are inevitable and that will only increase as my time on this earth continues.
Right.
So it's like a tremendous practice to stay to actually notice and to still love it, and to still be with it and care for it and nurture it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I think another, something that helps us accept is meditation. Is that quiet place you can get to where there is no judgment. There is just sitting with yourself and facing yourself without judgment, without reaction, and settling into that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So meditation, giving yourself the opportunity to be quiet
Yeah.
and not do anything. Again, in this society, we're so wrapped up in always having to do something.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you're not being productive. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We always have to do something. Otherwise, we're not good enough. We don't fit in, right? All of that. So giving yourself the opportunity and the gift to sit and to be with yourself and learn from yourself and tap into the wisdom that you have earned through your life. And just be with it is a total gift that we seem to overlook as we age. So it's important to move. Yes, absolutely. Keep our bodies in shape. Absolutely. And it's important to be reflective and quiet.
Yeah.
Being and doing. There's a balance of those two things.
I love that perspective of the gift, because I think that we tend to look at aging as the opposite of a gift, right? And yet I know that I've heard that you get to a certain point where you recognize every day is a gift, that every day is like, oh, this is awesome just being here. And I do experience some of that. I'm not saying that I don't, but it's like, but to be able to look at the natural process of aging as a gift, I think is really super powerful, and a total reset of what we experience on a daily basis here.
Another thing that has really helped me move forward is nature.
Yeah.
I started in Nature Basket in St. Louis when I lived in St. Louis. On walks, I'd pick up a little something, right? Whether it was a leaf or whatever it was, an acorn, whatever, a branch. And I've continued that here in Tucson. And you watch nature age. You watch the cycle of nature as you're walking, as you get familiar with where you are and your walks and noticing something different and notice how something's died.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And watch that evolve into what is going to, you know, be for them. But nature is very healing. That's why walking is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder for me to go for a walk today.
Start a little nature basket. I love it.
Yeah.
I pick up little things along the way, whether it's a feather or, you know, a piece of cactus or whatever it is, and just keep it. And it makes me smile when I see it.
I tend to collect rocks sometimes when I walk, and I'm looking to see if I have one here, but I often see very oddly shaped rocks, and sometimes they're heart shaped. So I have a collection of heart shaped rocks around the house.
Yes. Beautiful. I think that's beautiful. And then when you look at them, you have this special memory of finding it.
Yeah, it's almost like validation for me. Like processing something, find a heart-shaped rock. Oh, it's gonna be okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I collect rocks. There's something about them. Yeah. Fabulous. Fabulous.
I have to say that like every time we talk is just such a treat and an honor for me. Like I was actually listening to you talk a little bit ago. I was actually starting to get a little, you know, teary-eyed just like from the gratitude that I was experiencing. And you bring so much, and I just appreciate you so much. And
thank you, dear heart.
Yeah.
That's lovely. I hope the only time we get to talk.
No, definitely not. I'm going to be knocking on your door sometime. I'm coming to Tucson, lady.
Great. I'm glad to hear it.
I wanted to ask you one more thing about aging and use and the physical body. And I believe last time we spoke, you said something like, you know, it takes longer for the immune system to catch up and work through and process something. And I know for me personally, like my food tolerances are changing and have changed. So like addressing things like, you know, the immune system and food and stuff like that, like what are some of the things that you've done to support those systems?
Right. Well, I've been taking vitamins for years. Okay. So a good, you know, multivitamin, look at the vitamins that help support your bones, the foods that support your bones and body and immune system. But what I noticed the past few years is I'm eating less. And not because I don't enjoy food, you know, I love eating. It's because I guess my system doesn't need it as much.
Yeah, your metabolism.
My metabolism has slowed. So an important thing to remember as you age too is that your enzymes, they seem to not be as productive and as strong as they once were. So enzymes are important, to have some supplements of enzymes, which I do. Which help tremendously. So food, garlic, ginger, if you can tolerate garlic and ginger and onions, are a great mix. I do eat hot food. I love hot peppers to give my immune system and digestive system a boost now and then.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that because every time I get a cold, I want something spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heat you up and get it out.
yeah. I'm like, it's either going to make me feel better or make me feel worse, but at least I won't feel the same. And it always makes me feel better.
Right. So I'm very, I don't eat a lot of sugar,
Mm,
you know. I do occasionally, you know. Here again, it's a matter of experimentation for you.
what works for your body?
What works for your body,
Yeah.
getting some guidance, you know, because you got to start somewhere. And then you start eliminating and working that way.
Mm,
But enzymes, very important,
yeah.
extremely important for your metabolism, for your digestion, right?
Yeah.
Everything slows down. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right? When
That's
you are
really sound advice. I think they've really helped me. I've taken enzymes off and on for a few years now. And
good.
I give myself a break in between, when I run out, I'm like, okay, well, I'll give myself a couple months. And then I try and bolster the enzymes with the prebiotic foods.
Oh, yes.
And that's helped tremendously as far as like my energy level, my digestion, and my immune system. So, yeah, highly recommend checking those out, doing a little Google.
I personally add sauerkraut to a lot of what I
Yeah,
eat.
yeah,
You know, I add it to the soups I make. I'm a big soup person, you know, veggie soup, all that good stuff. You know,
yeah,
you can get in a nice hearty or light soup. But I do add sauerkraut.
yeah. The
Yeah.
fermented foods really helps.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
if we look anywhere but the US, there's some kind of fermentation.
Exactly.
We get
Exactly.
pickles, maybe.
Yeah, pickles. Right, right. But I found I actually really enjoy sauerkraut, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I there's a restaurant up the street that I adore, and they make their own kimchi, and it's not like
Mhm,
Korean. It's not like Korean, but it's
mhm.
really good. It's
Yeah.
really good.
And kimchi is available. You can buy it in the store.
Yeah.
Sauerkraut, pickles. Yeah. Yeah. Good. But I eat healthy. So, in other words, it's smart eating. I don't
Yeah.
deny myself anything. I
Mm.
just don't go crazy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
smart eating. It's unprocessed food. Don't get processed foods. Try to avoid those. Try your best to avoid processed foods. Whole
Yeah.
foods, lots of veggies, fruits. I love blueberries. You know, I just grab a handful and stick it, you know, eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm an
So,
apple a day person myself.
are you?
Yeah. It's pretty fantastic. I love my apple a day.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
Well, Nancy, thank you. You're such a treasure. I really appreciate you. And this has been a great chat about physical wellness as we go through our aging process.
Right. Well, thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this. I really admire your determination in putting this together, pulling it off in a short amount of time. That's
Thank you.
really, really great. That's wonderful. And you know what? I'm going to hold you to it. So I hope we have more of these doesn't have to be recorded.
No, it won't be. I won't record next time, I promise.
Right,
All
right.
right.
And you have my contact information if anybody would like to talk to me personally.
Yes, we will be sharing Nancy's social media and website links.
Great.
So
Thank
just look
you.
in the chat and look in the Facebook group. We'll do a shout out for her. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Nancy.
Oh, this has been great. Thank you, dear. Best of luck in all your endeavors.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.